Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Nada.
We are from Group 6. We would like to present about tax incentive of hotel. Before we present, we would like to introduce ourselves first. My name is Louis Firja, Farah Marliana, Nuna Zatu, and Muhammad Hayun Aceh. So before we present, we would like to show you the contents of the presentation. So first, we will be explaining about research objectives, background of the companies, tax incentive, current issue, new tax implementation, impact or effect, research limitation, and the last one will be the conclusions. So here I will be explaining about the research objectives. So there are four objectives for the research. So the objective one is to understand in depth the tax incentive given, as well as the effect to the hospitality industry. The second objective will be through this research, it will enable us to evaluate the relevance of existing tax ruling for hotels by the tax authority. The third one, by doing this research, we can also obtain an additional information about the tax incentive in hotel industry. It will be obviously different with the other industries regarding the tax regulation or even the imposition of the tax. And the last one will be that with the current situation that we're facing now, we are sure that the operation of this industry is heavily affected. So therefore, we would like to study more about the implication in the short term and long term run of this issue to the hotel providers, and how the tax authority will react on this kind of situation that happened right now. Next slide will be the background of the company. So here we actually interview two different hotel or company. So the first one will be Oyo 559 Asla Boutique Hotel Malaysia. So Oyo Hotels and Homes is Indian hotel chain. So it's actually based and established in India. It is found in May 2013 by Rikus Agarwal. So it operates in more than 800 cities in 80 countries, including Malaysia. So one of the franchise hotel of Oyo Hotels and Homes is Oyo Hotel 559 Asla Boutique in Malaysia. So it is actually a 2-star hotel that started operation in September 2017. The owner of this hotel is Salahah binti Harun. So it is located in Kota Baru, Kelantan, Malaysia. It offers 40 rooms, and every room has equipped with facilities. Oyo 559 Asla also has 15 employees. So the second hotel, which is the Permai Hotel Kuala Terengganu, it was opened on 8 January 1995. So it is actually a 3-star hotel. It was known before as Permai Park Inn International, that is managed by Park Plaza International Hotels Inn and Resorts, Australia. But in present, Permai Hotel now is managed by Terengganu Foundation and Islamic Foundation. The owner of the hotel is YTYI Sendirian Bahad. It is located in Kuala Terengganu, Malaysia. Offers 220 spacious room that equipped with facilities, and also Permai Hotel has 124 employees in total. So the next will be the tax incentive. So this slide will be presenting by my other colleagues.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Farah. So thanks to the previous presenter. Okay, so for my part is the main focus of the presentation, which are about the tax incentive for the hospitality industry. Before that, I will explain briefly what is tax incentive. Tax incentive in general is one of the initiatives from the government to give some tax relief to selected industry and to encourage individuals and businesses to spend money or to save money. Due to the successful Visit Malaysia campaign, since the hospitality industry seems relevant and related to the tourism sector, instead of Malaysia government give and providing tax incentive to the tourism industry. They also give tax incentive to hospitality industry as well to promote the growth of this industry. The incentive will apply to application received by the Manda, and it is in line with the government's objective to provide better accommodation facilities to attract the tourists. Companies undertaking new investment in 1 to 5-star hotels and tourism projects are eligible for the incentive such as pioneer status and ITA. In a year, a hospital industry may apply for only one of the incentives given by the government. However, the company is entitled to apply for another tax incentive upon the surrender from the other incentive, which will give them higher tax relief. So, as an example, a company which for their first 2 years had granted finance status, and the third year they may think the ITA is more benefiting them, and they may be eligible for ITA upon the surrender of finance status, although it is not yet enjoying the current tax incentive for 5 years. So there are 4 types of tax incentive for the hospitality industry, which is finance status, investment tax allowance ITA, incentive for undertaking new investment in hotel, and the investment allowance. Okay, first is finance status. It is eligible to 1 to 5-star hotels in all Malaysia, and they can enjoy tax relief of 70% from the payment of income tax for 5 years. They only need to pay 30% of the statutory income, and any unabsorbed capital allowance and accumulated loss can be carried forward for the 5 years and being deducted from the past and post final income of the company. So as an alternative of finance status, they can go for investment tax allowance ITA. Right, specifically, the incentive is for 4 and 5-star hotels. So basically, the tax incentive will give the company to get an allowance of 60% under qualifying capital expenditure, and they may offset this allowance against 70% of statutory income in the year of assessment within the period of 5 years. Any unutilized allowance can be carried forward to subsequent years until fully utilized. Okay, moving to the third tax incentive, which is enhanced incentive for undertaking new investment in hotel. It is only eligible for 5 and 5-star hotels in Sabah and Sarawak, which they will get an additional tax incentive. Like for Pioneer, they will get tax exemption of 100% of the statutory income, while for IPA, the allowance can be offset again 100% under qualifying capital expenditure. The tax incentive also be incurred for 5 years. Moving to the last tax incentive, which is the investment allowance, companies can invest in their expansion and modernization in 1 to 5-star hotels and are eligible for additional rounds of investment tax allowance. For 1 to 5-star hotels in Peninsular Malaysia, you will give an exemption of 60% under qualifying expenditure, and the allowance can be offset against 70% of the statutory income in each year of assessment. For Sabah and Sarawak, they are only eligible for 4 and 5-star hotels, which they will get exemption of 100% under qualifying expenditure, and as well of offset against 100% of the statutory income. Instead of allowance, basically will be used when those companies had ended their 5 years of tax relief, either finance status or IPA, and they will continue by applying the investment allowance. So that's for all for me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Nur Nazra Puja and I'll be continuing the presentation with explaining the government policy for the hospitality industry. Okay, back then in August 2017, the Ministry of Finance and RMC has introduced a new tourism tax, which is for hotel, which comes in the form of an additional nightly fee on all hotel stays. So basically, this nightly fee is an additional fee to those fees that normally charged by the hotels in Malaysia, which is the 6% and 10% service charge. So the nightly fee charge based on classes of hotels. So, for example, the 5 stars of the 5 stars hotel charge 20 ringgit per room per night, and 4 stars hotels charge 10 ringgit per room per night. 1, 2, and 3 stars hotel would charge 5 ringgit, and those non-rated hotel would charge 2 ringgit and 50 cents per room per night. Moving on to the next slide, which is the current issue. As we all know, the issue right now, the big issue, the global issue right now is COVID-19, the coronavirus. In early 2020, COVID-19 pandemic has weakened the Malaysia's hospitality industry. According to Malaysian Association of Hotels, MAH, hotels in Malaysia reported a loss of revenue for over 40 million as of early February 2020. So in order to save the country's hospitality industry, MAH has tabled few proposals. So the first proposal is they seek for a reduction in the rate of the tourism tax from 10 ringgit to 1 ringgit per room per night in order to boost international tourist arrival. Okay, and another thing is that they also called for personal income tax relief up to 1,000 per person for those staying in hotels, which is registered with the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. And the next proposal is the temporary exemption of service tax for hotels as an initiative to counter the negative impact of COVID-19. And last but not least, the MAH also asked for a 10% discount on water bills for 6 months, the temporary suspension on employees' contribution to EPF, and the minimum wage order and others. Okay, that's all the proposals made by the MAH to the government. Okay, moving on to the next slide, which is new tax implementation. The government actually heard the proposal by MAH. So, government of Malaysia has introduced economic stimulus package 2020 on February 27. Okay, and this ESP, okay, economic stimulus package, has successfully addressed the main worry with regard to the hospitality industry. The first economic stimulus package, which is specifically for hotel, okay, which is the deferment of tax installment payments for 6 months for businesses in tourism sector, such as travel agents, hotel operators, and airline companies. And then, realizing the fact that the industry is hurting, so the government has issued a second economic stimulus package, which named Prihatin, valued at 250 billion to combat the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, it was argued that the government's second ESP is not offering any help to small business. So, small business such as hotel owners, for example, these budget hotels, they are struggling to stay afloat and keeping all their employees. Having said that, the MyBHA, which is Malaysia Budget Hotel Association, has urged the government to actually come up with additional measures to cater the small hotel businesses in the hospitality industry. However, recently Malaysia has received good news from the Prime Minister, where recently on 6th June, the Prime Minister has announced 40 initiative worth 35 billion under Penjana. Okay. Uh, the Deputy President of my BHA, Malaysia Belajar Hotel Association, Dr. Sri Ganesh Michelle, said that among the announcements that benefited the hotel and tourism sector was actually the extension of the wage subsidy program and the deferment of installment payments on tax payable for another 3 months and full exemption with tourism tax for 1 year, which will be effective on July 1st. Okay, and our country has received another good news, which is recently being announced as well on 7th June, is it? Okay. Which is the MCO is now being the RMCO, which is Recovery Movement Control Order, and this RMCO allowed interstate travel, and it's basically benefit the tourism industry, specifically hospitality industry. So the Chief Executive Officer of MAH, Yap Lip Sang, said the announcement is significant for the tourism industry, and it actually signals the beginning of the recovery of domestic tourism in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. And the hotels were actually ready to receive and serve guests, and adding the standard operating procedures (SOP), and they are happy that they can start their business back. So I pass to the next presenter to continue the presentation.
Now, I will continue the presentation. First, my name is Muhammad Inakil, and I will present about the impacts of tax incentive. Throughout our study, we found that there are two major impacts of the incentive. First, it enhances the economic development. Second, it helps job creation and job empowerment. The incentive is one of the common ways used by the government in order to stimulate the economic growth. According to our studies, majority academicians agree that the incentive is positively impact the economy by attracting more investment and encourage the investor to put their money. For example, in Malaysia, the government gave a special reduction to the hotel that run the business in a specific area such as in Sabah and Sarawak. In fact, the number of hotels in Sabah is keep increasing years by years. Other than that, the incentive also encourages the business to expand their operation and also improve the quality of services. Moving on to the second point, the incentive also helps job creation and job empowerment. These are the subsequent effects from the enhancement of the economy. When the number of hotels is increasing, the demand also increases, and it requires more resources to cater the demand. As it will offer more job opportunities, especially to the local. Furthermore, in order to improve the quality of services, the employer need to train the workers with refined skills, and the government encourage this matter by giving reduction to the employer on the cost bear for the training. However, we need to remember that the incentive could be ineffective if it is not properly formulated. The negative impact is normally shown on the non-conducive investment environment, such as in the third world country. Moving on to the research limitation, we found there are two research limitations, which are data collection process and sample profile. In the data collection process, we face problem where the response from the interview was delayed due to the MCO. This is because our respondent has temporarily kissed their operation due to COVID-19. Apart of it, we also received unsatisfactory response from the interviews. Some of the answers does not meet our requirement and cannot answer the risk objective. Due to that, we focus our data collection through literature review and academic research. The second limitation is related to our sample. Our sample is quite small when it only cover the 3-star hotel or below. We believe that the impact of tax incentive would differ according to the ranking of the hotel. Due to that, our finding might be biased to a certain view, and as a result, we could ascertain the impact of the tax incentive toward the hotel industry as a whole. Lastly, as a conclusion, we believe that the nation has been doing so well in formulating the tax regime. We hope that our research could assist the policymaker in making decisions in the future, especially after the COVID-19 outbreak. I think this is all for us. Thank you for listening. Begin.
Habis ke Farah sambung? Habis dah ni? Hotel?
Habis dah.
Farah tak ada Alright. I think that is very good presentation. Alright, cuma masa Nazrah tu tadi dia sound ni sikit lah. A bit hilang sikit. Maybe my side kot. Cumanya is for all the groups. Alright, I appreciate that if you can actually put a slide number. Right, so that bila you nak refer back, for example, the audience wants to refer back to the slide, we can always refer to the slide number. Ya, ada tadi slide I nak refer tu tapi ada lupa dah slide number berapa, so tak apalah. Remember for everyone, alright, in your final exam, any of these topics, alright, it could be 5 topics lah, alright, from the presentation, alright, will be out in your final exam. So even though you may want to go to sleep, alright, but put something like that, say that okay, I have to listen to this because this could be my final exam question. Yeah, alright. So any question for the group? Tadi you pergi dekat Oyo Hotel tu memang you pergi ke tak?
Semua tu kita orang email je, interview.
YTYL tu apa nama dia?
Yang mana?
Yang Oyo tu lah. Tahu. Kalau owner dia tu YTYL tu kot lah my friend. Cewa, kau dah my friend. Right. Tak apa, it's okay. But dia, maknanya sekarang ni Hotel Permai tu dah jadi Oyo lah.
Yang Terengganu ke? Tak. Yang Oyo tu yang first je. Yang satu tu own established lah.
Oh, okay. Alright. Alright, very good. On the presentation, I like the content as well. Kita ada 15 marks untuk the presentation, 15 marks for the reports. On the presentation, I dah bagi kan apa benda yang I nak kan? Apa ah?
Sama je macam report.
Apa ya?
Content dia sama. More finding lah.
Okay lah. Answer okay je, you all cover je. Group number 1. Okay, let's have the second group sebab nanti group Amirul tu ada 25 minit. Okay, Husaini group.
Okay, madam.
Okay.
And to all my beloved friends, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Taqib Rahmat. Together
Tapi kuat sikit, I tak dengar.
Sorry, madam?
Tak dengar sangat. Taqib
cakap. Oh, kuatkan sekejap.
Husaini, Fatin Shazwani and also Nurhanis. We're going to present to you about this topic about GST versus SST 2.0. I know that this topic has been debated since 2015, but I think it is important for us to bring back about this topic for our further discussion. First of all, we're going to look at our outline of our presentation. First of all, we're going to look at our research objective. We wanted to understand what is the focus of our research. The second one, we're going to look at the Malaysian taxation system, followed by the background of the company that we have selected. The third one, we're going to look at our research methodology. How do we conduct this research? Next, we're going to look at the research finding that we have managed to accomplish and make some analysis from it. After that, we're going to look at our research limitation. What are the cons? What are the barrier of our study? And finally, we're going to look at the research implication. What do we conclude from this research? Before we start with the research objective, I would like to share with you one of the quotes of William Simon, which I quote, "The nation should have a tax system that looks like someone designed it on purpose." Moving on to our research objective, there are three main points that we would like to focus in this research. For the first one, we wanted to understand and also attain the knowledge of the transition from GST to SST 2.0. The second objective is that we wanted to examine the current implication of SST 2.0, especially for manufacturing companies. And of course, the last one, we wanted to examine the issues, the challenges, the pros and cons of both SST and GST. All right, next, we're going to look at the Malaysian taxation system. As we all know that taxation has become the largest source of revenue for the government. It is where the government collect the money from the people in the country for the purpose of to use the money to run the country. There are several types of taxation system in conventional economics. For example, we have like personal income tax, corporate income tax, sales and service tax, goods and services tax, and many more. If we look at the timeline, during the 70s, SST are actually covered by two separated laws on wide variety of goods and services tax at a single level. And then during 2015, GST has been implemented. As we know that GST has been commonly used in the form of taxation used by 160 countries globally. And GST has also been known as a value-added tax in some countries. And finally, during the 2008, when the new government takes over, Malaysian new sales and services tax came into effect. Next, we're going to look at the company's background that we have selected for this research. So for these research purposes, we're going to look at the Daikin Malaysia Sdn Bhd. In general, Daikin has been founded on October 25th, 1924, which is 95 years ago. The founder of this company is Akira Yamada. The headquarters of Daikin Company is located in Osaka, Japan. The industry that this company focuses is more on the electrical appliance and also the chemical. There are four products that this company focuses on, which is the first one is air conditioning, second is refrigerating system, the third one is chemical, and the last one is defense system. Since we have understand the nature of the company, now we're going to look at the research methodology of this study. The first one, we conducted our research based on the article review. We searched several articles for internet and look for any arguments in terms of the GST and also SST system, as well as we're going to look at the point of view of the expert, the transition of GST and also SST. The second one, we rely on the news articles from the social media and also the website. We try to look at what are the point of view and also the feedback from the other industry. And the last one, we managed to conduct an interview whereby we approached one of the accountant manager who is currently working in the Daikin's company. The person that we have interviewed had a variety of experience in managing the financial report of the company. Consequently, the person that we have interviewed has experience since the very first of SST 1.0, GST, and the newly SST 2.0. Therefore, it is perfectly for him to be interviewed for us to obtain our finding for our study. All right, for the research finding, I would like to pass this next presentation to the next presenter.
SST is also known as value-added tax. It is a multi-stage tax system, which means every single item
Tak dengar lah.
Sekejap Miriam.
All items
Saya try buat max.
analysis of application of changes for
Better ke Miriam?
Tak boleh dah
Tak boleh dah max dah.
Okay, tak apalah.
Okay.
GST to SST. Firstly, GST is also known as value-added tax. It is a multi-stage tax system, which means every single item is with tax. Thus, all items are priced with an additional cost. It is imposed on the value added to goods or services in the production and distribution chain, and the tax is effectively on the increase in the value or prices of goods and services as they pass through the chain. The idea of adoption of GST had been circulating in Malaysia since the year 1989, but the implementation is only effective on the 1st April of 2015. There was an issue regarding the multi-stage taxing. The tax imposed at every level of manufacturing will increase the price. Some mentioned that GST can give a good contribution to GDP, and some mentioned that it will lead to a downturn to the growth of GDP. The company need to register GST in order to charge GST on taxable goods and services made to the customer. The company can claim at the end of the month, and the refund of it will be the next month. Moving on to SST. SST is a single stage tax. The sales and ballroom tax is charged upon taxable goods manufactured and sold by a taxable person in Malaysia and taxable imported into Malaysia. While service tax is charged on taxable services provided in Malaysia and not on imported or exported services. Since it is a single stage tax system, it is imposed only on manufacturer level. The prices of goods and services do not increase much with tax, even though the supply chain is spread far and wide. In terms of pricing, it was required to be submitted on a bi-monthly basis to the Royal Malaysian Customs Department. The major changes between GST and SST is in terms of pricing. There are price changes for the product during both eras. Every layer of the supply chain, starting from the supplier, manufacturer, retailer to customer, need to pay 6% on top of other charges to customer. This caused the company to increase their prices, which is why the hefty cost of goods and services during the implementation of GST. As for SST, the 10% sales tax is only charged on the manufacturer stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Usani, and here in my part we will further discuss about the second finding of our research in regard to current implication of SST 2.0 in manufacturing industry. So there are three questions that we asked the interviewee in regard to this matter. But in the first question, we attempt to understand how well does the company cope with the recent SST 2.0 tax system. In the second question, we want to explore the interviewee personal opinion in regard to which type of tax system is for him the most suitable in Malaysian manufacturing industry. And in the third question, we want to examine what type of tax incentive or any tax exemption that being enjoyed by the company in these two different type of tax system. So we'll start with the first question, where we ask the interviewee, how well does your company cope with the current SST 2.0 tax system, and is there any improvement that can be done? So the answer we received is that they didn't face much problem in regard to the current SST 2.0 tax system. This perhaps because they already have a long experience in dealing with SST 1.0 before the GST being established. They did mention that some improvement can be done by government to improve the current SST system. For example, the government may implement a linkage and integration between custom and KPDN HEP system. What it means here is that currently both custom and KPDN HEP system are using a separate server system. So this means the company like Daikin or other manufacturer, they are required to update their information in both of this custom and KPDN HEP system. It will be like, as being mentioned by the interviewee, quite a repetitive job for them, since most of the information that need to be updated are actually similar information. So, for example, if the government can actually implement a linkage or integration between two of the server system, we will make it easier for their job. They can update their information only at one server system, and the government can also receive their information from business faster. In the next question, we asked the interviewee whether he agreed with the idea. Like, for example, the government reintroduced back GST into our tax system. So he didn't agree with the idea. This mainly because the company will be required to spend more cost to shift back their operation tax system into a new GST system. So this include costs like they need to train back their employee to adapt with a new GST tax system. They also need to change back their product pricing and much more. And this will be further being explained by Shazwan in the next part. Other than that, by using the current SST tax system, business like Daikin can actually improve their cash flow as they do not need to pay any input tax upfront. They can also avoid any kind of, for example, cash flow cost due to delay of payment of refund made by the government. So we can see here that in this term, the interviewee actually much prefer SST compared to GST because the operation of using SST are more straight and more without need any kind of much interference from the government itself. Like for example, in terms of the input tax upfront. Lastly, in the third question, we asked the interviewee what type of exemption or any kind of incentive that being provided by them in both of these two different tax systems, GST and SST. So in GST, the Daikin is actually provided by a better tax incentive where they enjoyed an exemption from MIDA on import and locally produced exemption, which also included the exemption of GST itself. While in SST, they only have exemption for exporting item manufactured in Malaysia, but also but they would be taxed as usual for their local sales.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Shazwani Banti. Moving on to the next finding. For this part, we asked the interviewee for the question, what were the major challenges arose during the transition period of GST to SST 2.0? Based on the interview session with the interviewee, he said that there were several issues that arise during the transition period of GST to SST 2.0. As a business, Daikin faced difficulty during the transition period from GST to SST that required them to change to the new tax system in such a short period of time. However, according to the interviewee, the most crucial issue that they face is to update for all related material for sales tax exemption for SST. As a manufacturer, they are required to have the tariff code in order to determine whether a particular goods that they provided is exempted from sales tax. Since the changes are in a very short implementation period to be ready for the SST, they are told to wait prior to 1st September to review and apply the exemption. In terms of the challenges, the interviewee told that the implementation of the new tax system give them a lot of pressure since the company's management need to retraining the staff to learn and deal with SST. And also, Daikin also need to assess back the pricing policy since there will be changes in the new price. Besides, the interviewee also mentioned that they need to review back all the existing contract to consider to renegotiating with the suppliers for any changes that arise due to the implementation of SST. In addition, Daikin also incurred costs subject to the changes of SST due to the need to change the new computer system to be SST ready. Moving on to the next slide, we ask the interviewee his personal opinion. What are the strengths and weaknesses for both tax systems? For the strengths of both tax systems, the interviewee says that SST give more clearer pricing to their distributor and sales team compared to GST. Besides, SST GST is also refundable in case your company has any bad debt with the condition you must write off all the invoices or amount of receivable as bad debts. While for GST, the strength for GST is the system is fully operational and well maintained. Thus, they will not have any difficulty in preparing it for a claimable process. In addition, he added that GST can help the government diversify its sources of income, and GST is also a transparent form of taxation and reduce the amount of indirect tax incurred. For the witnesses, the interviewee mentioned that before this, the process of claiming back the GST did not have much documentation process. However, for SST, the management need to have more documentation process need to be done, such as to prepare K1 form for import for dutiable goods and non-dutiable goods, K2 form for export for dutiable and non-dutiable goods, and others form that related to SST matters. Besides, he also said that one of the weakness of the SST is that the implementation of SST will cost the government a tax revenue drop. For GST, the interviewee said that the refund process takes longer to be approved by the government due to many processes needing to be verified by them. Besides, he also added that previously, for some businesses, the GST claim back on tax have been challenging due to requirements set by the government that require around 500,000 in annual revenue for claiming back purposes. Lastly, during our interview, we also asked personal opinion from the interviewee, Mr. Ajmal, on the question which tax system most practical for manufacturing companies in Malaysia. He says that for him, he would say SST suit with the manufacturing industry as it allows proper division of costs at manufacturing level, in which the government has the right management can analyze and ensure that all item produced is well being taxed. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Abdul Asad bin M. Saidi, and I'm going to continue the presentation on research limitation. So, due to the pandemic disease occurring in the late 2019, which is last year, because of the coronavirus, also called COVID-19, Malaysian government had issued the Restricted Movement Order (RMO), which affected all of the activities. So, as a result of the RMO, we cannot set a meeting and interview the accountant directly to gain the ability to acquire critical data regarding the Malaysian tax system. In addition, due to the lack of time, the accountant does not have leisure time to entertain and answer our question for a long hour. Yet he only managed to answer our question through email by only with a short and simple answer. So for the second limitation, due to the limit sources regarding tax treatment for manufacturing companies in Malaysia posted in Google, which cover all the journeys on tax system from SST 1.0 to GST and SST 2.0. Due to the limitation, we cannot gain critical data on how the manufacturing firm in Malaysia deal with the transition of the tax system from SST to GST and K2. Going back to SST 2.0. So for the conclusion, in short, according to the explanation from the interviewee, which is Mr. Ajman, he said that manufacturing industry are more suitable with the SST tax system as a whole, because SST works on the base of single tax and the sale or service tax is imposed at manufacturer stage only. Next, in terms of the computation for both tax system, GST and SST are quite the same. Mr. Ajman mentioned that the only major differences is in terms of the pricing. For the tax exemption, Mr. Ajmal mentioned that GST has better exemption than SST for manufacturing firms because Daikin can benefit from the exemption from Malaysia Investment Development Authority on import and locally produced products, which include GST. And despite of the issue and challenges from both tax system, Mr. Ajmal prefer the SST tax system because Daikin would be able to improve their cash flow as they do not need to pay input tax upfront, but instead can apply for sales tax exemption on their raw material, components, and packaging. And I think that's all from our group. Thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sorry. Have you uploaded that in the Google
You,
Classroom?
in the Google Classroom, I think not yet.
Later you go into the group project tu, then you
Huh?
submit assignment, yeah?
Okay, sure, madam, sure.
But others can access or not?
Cannot, madam.
Cannot So I yang kena letak So you bagi mailing lah.
Boleh. Nanti saya send kat madam.
Okay. Tak pun nanti buat satu je dalam WhatsApp group. Tak semua group punya link so that kita boleh satu person je. Alright. Untuk SST ni, GST ni, just one comment on you punya comparison between GST and SST. Asal ada yang dekat slide GST tu. I think that dia kata because GST is at multiple apa? Single stage dengan multiple stages.
Multiple stage. Betul.
Multiple stages, but you have to remember that even though it's a multiple stages, but tax is only on the value added. Not that tax on tax. Sebab in company in between, for example from wholesaler to the retailer, of course a wholesaler impose retailer, then retailer impose another GST.
Thank you so much for watching the video. I hereby request Dr. Dhirendra Mishra to take the session ahead from here. Dr. Dhirendra.
Dah. Okay. But it's not that
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen.
Who is that?
Aisyah Amirul lah sebab dia dengan test dia punya kot.
Okay, tengah test. Macam ni tadi tu?
For GST, every level tu ada
The screen is visible to all of you?
input tax credit. So you akan dapat balik whatever that you paid for your GST.
Hello.
Sure.
Supplier tu you akan dapat balik tax credit. So it's actually
So am I audible, everyone?
the problem is people don't understand, so they thought that it's tax on tax. So that's why at the end of the day consumer
Okay.
has to
So
but I think
thank you very much for inviting me
I can hear clearly. I'm not sure where come this voice.
for this wonderful workshop.
kat mana I tak ada.
Medium saya tak bersalah.
Dah.
Skut tadi.
First you tutup YouTube punya link tu.
Link tadi tu.
Tutup web. Habiskan.
Alright, for SST actually the tendency untuk you increase the price is higher because kalau SST supplier can actually claim back dia punya input tax. But under SST manufacturer je set the single stage kan, so manufacturer yang akan set the sales tax, then dia pass pada retailer. Retailer dia kena claim back on the SST. Ada sales tax or service tax. So and that whatever tax tu jadi dia punya cost lah to the business. So what happens is the cost is actually embedded into the price of the goods. So actually SST is more likely to have a higher price as compared to GST.
Okay.
If you go back lah, I think that's how it should be lah. And personally, even though you punya officer kata, of course, if they were to go back to GST, right? They will have to incur more cost. For example,
Yeah.
the system, all that is very is a burden to the company, right?
Yeah, especially in terms of the cash flow, madam. They say because the government returned the input tax very late. So
GST.
actually, yeah. So they said that's actually the reason why the price is increasing because
You have
the
to
business can't wait to have their cash flow to be retained by the government.
embed on the price.
So end up sama je naik harga.
The system is okay. The
The implementation, yeah, it's true.
implementation. So I think that GST, I think the Malaysian GST is good enough, but it's just the
Mm-mm.
implementation, right? So if they actually do not make use of the money for other purpose, right, the GST refund tu, they should be able to pay back, right?
Mm-mm.
That does not belong to the government. It's a liability to the government.
Betul.
They're supposed to return back. So, and again, it's always the implementation lah. Yeah, it always goes back to human, individual factors, all those lah, right? Actually, system is okay with. Yeah, but it's interesting to know feedback from the Daikin, right? It's good for you because you have the opportunity to interview the person even though from e-interview, right?
Yeah, true.
But it's good lah, you get that contact, right? That's good. I think that is also a good experience for the group lah. Yeah. Right. So thank you again.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Third group. Alright, you just have about 18 minutes. Macam mana?
Not enough, madam. Not enough.
Nah, then stop kat tengah-tengah If you have if others have class at 3:30, you can leave earlier lah. Yeah, but if you don't, then please stay just a few more minutes.
Okay.
Janganlah bagi kat sini. Siapa ni? Amirul.
Saya share
YouTube.
YouTube, slide
Nanti
dalam Zoom and WhatsApp group.
Satu mesej tu copy je. Those yang present pun dah boleh letak dah. Okay.
Madam. Madam, saya ada prepare link untuk Google Classroom, Google Meet. So, saya dah prepare dah. Boleh tak kita switch to Google Classroom, Google Meet?
Now? Okay, boleh? Dah lah Amirul tak cukup masa ni. Saya tanya Amirul je.
Saya dah prepare dah. Info yang YouTube channel ni semua saya dah buka dah.
Alright. So, we go now.
Yeah.
Okay. End ke?
Leave.